world has reached an important crossroads. If the current trend continues, climate change will have serious consequences for people all over the planet. Poor people and communities are most exposed.
I think the important thing about climate change is about 10 years ago, we thought we could mitigate our way out of the problem. And now we realize that even if there was one big switch on the wall that we could turn off all the greenhouse gases immediately, we're still committed to a very high level of climate change. So we're going to see continuous change in our local environments for decades, centuries, maybe even thousands of years into the future.
We will all be affected by climate change, but island communities and low-lying areas, the Arctic and dry regions in Africa will experience some of the most dramatic changes. The impact on people and communities depends on three factors: the hazard of floods, drought, storms, or sea level rise, how exposed the area is to these hazards, and how vulnerable the people who live there are to climate change.
Umuntu ahlala ade ehleli khona ngahlala endaweni yomunye umuntu. Futhi sifunde sokhuluma ngaso namhlanje sizokhuluma ngeclimate change, okuyisimo sokuguquguquka kwezulu. Angithi niyakwazi lokho ukuguquguquka kwezulu ukuthi into ekanjani leyo. Ubani ongangitshela kunini ukuthi ukuguquguquka kwezulu kuyini? Singayilungisa kanjani le ndaba? Yebo ma.
Esingakwenza ukushintsha ukuguquguquka isimo. Mina ngubongiwe wakahlatshwayo, nginengane ezu-11, besinenkinga yokuthi asazi ukuthi siphila kanjani la endlini ngoba engakawazi umsebenzi ubaba la ekhaya. Besingazi impela ukuthi siphila kanjani, ngekho ngisho imali yokuthenga impuphu, ngekho ngisho imali yokuthenga nje into edliwayo. Sizama sipatanisa ngaleyo ndlela besipatanisa ngayo.
Bongiwe and her family live in Buffelsdraai, an important catchment area for Durban. The natural vegetation of Buffelsdraai is gone after many years of sugarcane farming. The family's closest neighbour is the region's largest landfill site. Combined, this has a negative effect on the water quality and made the area more prone for flooding. The municipality decided to do something about the situation.
Bafika egroundini, babiza meeting, babiza umphakathi. Bye. Sizoletha iproject yokuthi kutshalwe isihlahla kuphume impuphu, noma kutshalwe isihlahla kuphume rice. Sabuzana sisodwa ukuthi kuzokwenzeka kanjani lokho.
In 2010, the municipality decided to restore a 600-hectare forest to create a natural barrier between local communities and the region's largest landfill site.
Ya, uzothatha imfoloko, uvuza inhlabathi. Masuqedile ukuyivuza, uyazothola. Masuqedile ukuyivuza bese ufaka imbewu.
The local population was hired to gather seeds from indigenous species and grow the seedlings in homemade greenhouses. When the trees are ready for planting, the municipal green team takes over. But the trees are not only valuable for the municipal climate strategy and the local ecosystem.
There's 160. If it's totally 560.
Thathe ezokudla, mhlawumbe sithathe ezamabhayisikili, mhlawumbe uthathe ezesikole, mhlawumbe uthathe ezematerial yokwakha kanjalo. Kuya ngokuthi yini wena oyithathayo.
the Buffelsdraai Community Reforestation Project here in Durban is a key learning space for us. What we want to do is, as a city, ensure that as we plan into the future, we can have a much better and much clearer idea of how we address issues throughout the city in different communities.
I think the really important thing about the climate change adaptation work that we're doing in Durban is we really tackle this problem in a multidimensional way.
The authorities in Durban use the Buffelsdraai Reforestation Project as a model for climate change adaptation for the entire city of Durban. People in poorer parts of Durban are hired as environmental workers. They work together for a climate-safe city. Water shortage is a huge problem in Durban during the dry season. Foreign plant species put additional pressure on the limited water supply. These plants also upset the natural ecological balance and must be controlled and removed. The plants and trees they remove are recycled into biochar. The biochar traps carbon and also works as a soil conditioner. Biochar deposited underground remains stable for several centuries. This makes it a simple but efficient way of storing carbon dioxide. The porosity of the coal also makes the soil more productive. eThekwini municipality organises small local farming cooperatives that use biochar to grow vegetable seedlings. The city centre is made greener. Even roofs are turned into flourishing gardens. Increased vegetation in the city centre and green roofs reduce flooding during rainstorms and keep buildings cool in summer.
Also, from a climate change perspective, is really important because it helps to reduce the heat island effect. The moment you've got your green areas and your green roofs, what that typically does is it just helps to cool off the entire city, so making it again a much more pleasant place to live.
Climate change it's probably the biggest single challenge we've had to face as a society. What this problem does, it's at a magnitude that's caused us as a society to come together and focus on a single thing. Now, that's an incredibly powerful thing. We've got over 7 billion people, with the bulk of them now thinking about how they can begin to change their lives and work together to solve this single global problem. It's encouraging all of us to think about new ways of interacting and doing business. It's to remove the complacency from large elements of society and forced us into this highly innovative state.
Ngikhiphe ihlahla ngathola amabhayisekili kunzima ngoba sihambe siwa order amabhayisekili shuthi mina sengizotholana. Manje ingane zesikole ziyayifuna imali. Ngase ngibona ukuthi kungcono mangabe ngidayisa amabhayisekili ngizokwazi ukuthi ngibe nemali engihlezi nginayo. Zona ingane ziyasizakala ngokuthi zenze impilo nje.